Thanks, Marshall. Hi, everybody. This is the Wednesday Calpads Q&A. My name is Alex Sondi. Moving on to announcements. The initial deadline has passed. Congratulations to everybody that made the deadline. I don't think, well, I don't know. I'll let someone else speak about that. But I think most of the LEAs were able to finish last Friday. So congratulations, you're done with that. And now we move on to the final deadline, which is January 23rd. And that really is just 3 weeks after we start the new year. So it's not a lot of time. For that one, I just want to remind everybody that we are requiring SELPA approval. We need your SELPA to approve this final deadline of January 23rd. And then want to talk about the Fall 2 submission window is open. So if you were to look at in Calpads at your LEA approval, your certification page, you should see your Fall 2 status already there. So if you're interested, if you were curious, you can take a look now. But you could have always been able to see the data discrepancies, right? So those are still refreshing at a much quicker pace than the certification. And the last announcement that I had today is that today is the last Q&A of calendar year. We're in a festive mood, and the next 2 weeks, Calpads is going, or not Calpads, but CSIS is going to be off for Wednesday and Thursday. So Calpads is still going to be on. You can work if you wanted to, but it's just if you had a ticket and we won't be able to respond Wednesday or Thursday. And because it's Wednesday, we won't have the Q&As for the next 2 weeks until the next calendar year. So with that, I think I'm going to pass it over to Matt so he can talk to us about Fall 2 trainings.
All right. Thank you, Alex. So just one quick announcement and a reminder about Fall 2 trainings. So first, the announcement. All of our Fall 2 trainings are now available in the on-demand format on the SIS YouTube training channel. And that includes Fall 2 data population, Fall 2 reporting and certification, and Fall 2 advanced reporting and certification trainings. You can find them by navigating to the SIS homepage. This is the homepage that you'll arrive at if you go to the URL csis.fcmat.org. That's csis.fcmat.org. And on the homepage, if you click the SIS YouTube icon here, you will go to our SIS YouTube training channel. And as you can see, the Fall 2 courses for this academic year with data population, reporting and certification, and advanced are now all published on the SIS YouTube training channel. So please do go view those on-demand trainings. And then the reminder, our Fall 2 training schedule, or our training schedule for live Fall 2 trainings, begins just after the week of New Year's, with Fall 2 data population occurring on January 6th. That is a Tuesday. And reporting and certification occurring on Thursday, January 8th. So please ensure that you've registered for Fall 2 live trainings on the SIS training registration page, and I'll put a link to the registration page in chat here for everyone as well. That's it
Thank
for
you.
me, Alex.
I'm going to pass it over to Angela now.
Thank you, Alex. So we did have a deployment yesterday, so our active and fixed known issues are up to date. To answer your question, Alex, only one LEA didn't make the deadline, so that was pretty remarkable. We had a good turnout. I'm fudging a little bit because it was technically 3 LEAs, but 2 of them were closed. We do require recently closed independently reporting charter schools to certify Fall 1 in case they had any dropouts to report. And unfortunately, 2 of them didn't make it, so we'll get them before the January deadline. And then I believe I haven't checked on the 1 LEA just yet. I'm not sure if they're done yet.
We won't put them on blast, right?
No. Although the county reports were published and they're no longer password protected. So LEA and county offices can now access those through the Calpads page, the CD website. I do have a comment I want to talk about a little bit, Alex, a bug you found prior to the deadline. It's SCNR 0717F1, and it has to do with students who don't have a SIMP record that overlaps information day. And that bug Alex found was that A, the bug was not trigger or the error was not triggering, and B, the student was not getting counted anywhere on the fall one reports. And so I would advise you, those of you on this call to today, if you can, hop over to your data discrepancy screen that was fixed on Tuesday and see if you have that error. If so, you're going to want to fix that, decertify, get a new revision, and then certify the newer one so that makes sure all of your students are being counted. I don't expect a lot of people to have that error. It's a pretty uncommon one, but we are going to identify LEAs that have that and reach out to them proactively. But I thought I'd give you a heads up since you're on this call. And that was all I had today, Alex.
Okay, awesome. Dominic, anything on your end?
Sure. So before fall one had closed, we had talked about that there were still plenty of missing degree of support entries for students with qualifying disability 1 or 2 codes. When I first pulled it on November 10th, there were 122,000 records missing that. I see that my audio might not be great. Sorry.
It sounds like your mic is away from your mouth.
Yeah, I had to, and for some reason, Zoom resets my audio.
There it is.
Over and over again. This better?
Much better.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, before the close of fall one, there were 122,000 records that were missing degree of support that should have had it. I ran it again today. There's still about 78,000 of these. So I just want to encourage everybody to take the time to generate report 16.14 and look for those students that have the qualifying primary disability or disability 2 codes and make sure that the plan overlapping census day has a degree of support entered. I put together a quick sort of like one sheet instructional on how to easily do that with the report and with Excel that I'll probably send out on the listserv as well as make available in the office hours materials. But I just wanted to keep that on people's radar because, like I said, there's still, several tens of thousands of missing degree of support entries.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone from the Calpads office?
I don't believe anybody's joining us today from the Calpads operations office.
Okay. All right. So then we're going to start with our questions. We're going to start with Angela Mata. Question 1. Last week, I had to log off before hearing the answer to the question about homeless students possibly being included in the 1.17 Fall 1 reports if they had a 181-182 program record in with a start date before 10/31, even if the homeless program date itself was after Census Day. Can you please possibly repeat the answer? Today I tried looking for last week's Q&A recording on the SIS YouTube channel, but don't see the video posted yet. Thank you. A homeless student being included if they had a 181-182. I don't remember the exact question, but just looking at this at face value, I'm going to say if the student had a 181 or 182 program record that was dated on or before October 31st, then yes, they would be included in your LCFF 117 report.
But not homeless.
Right. Yeah, they wouldn't count for homeless.
They would have had to been on or before Census Day.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, Angela, if that answers your question. If it doesn't, put in another question and try to. Okay, cool. Thank you.
And I will have the recording up by end of day from last week. It's just now publishing.
Thank you, Marshall. Next up is Susan. Question 1 reads, how is the Armed Forces SPRG used? Sue answers, good question. And Karen says that it's used as part of end of year 1 data collection. So that's federal reporting. I don't know if it's just a subgroup or if it's anything more. know if anyone else has any.
I believe the Armed Forces program actually appears on the end of, or what was formerly the end of year 2 reports. Military science counts for end of year 1. That's not the Armed Forces data collection of students who are the children of Armed Forces member. I think it rolls up into Title I. Those students are protected along with homeless and migrant students in terms of graduation because they're highly mobile. Yeah. And so a lot of those protections correspond with those Title I subgroup of students.
Thank you, Nate. Next is Kareem. Question 1 says, can you go over the Calpads position that Sean mentioned last week? I missed the little details. I don't know.
I didn't capture that link that she posted. Marshall, do you have access to grab that?
I will try to get it real quick.
Okay, they have a job opening in that department, and so she's recruiting.
I think I found it, so I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you, Mila. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Yeah, Kareem, I can't give you any details. I don't know myself, but there we go. Depending on how many questions we have, we may circle back and read it together.
So this is the link that Milo posted. It looks like it's for an IT specialist 1 position in the Calpads office.
Come join us. We're a lot of fun.
Woo!
Next is Sue-Ann. Question 1. Will the CDE ever consider opening Fall 2 earlier? Sorry, me no spell too good.
You want me to take that one, Alex?
Yes, please.
We've had some healthy debates on that and getting closer to the consensus that yes, we would like to turn it on a little bit earlier. A couple of our hangups are the Calpads performance. We don't want to degrade Calpads Fall 1 submission because it's so critical. The other concern that we've had in the past is we don't want to divert people's attention away from Fall 1 either. So we really want you to be laser focused on getting Fall 1 completed. But what we saw this year is people were certifying well ahead of the deadline. The other piece that's pushing us probably to start it a little bit earlier is that the data discrepancy screen is pretty robust now, and it's pretty consistently churning out the data discrepancy errors, which allow people to focus on that through year round, right? You don't have to wait for the submission window to open. So if people have already resolved all their Fall 2 errors by November 15th, then maybe they're ready to certify. So I think there's a good chance that it will be turned on earlier next year. No guarantees though, Sue-Ann.
Next is Claudia. Question 1. If a teacher is assigned a non-classroom based or support assignment code, are they also required to be assigned a course section? For example, an RSP teacher with job classification 27 and a non-classroom based assignment with code 6029. Does this teacher also need to have a course assignment? And Sue-Ann says, my general rule is to report a corresponding course. No students need to be enrolled. What about OTOSA? So I believe we have a validation that would prevent a non-classroom code assignment being populated and also a course assignment. Correct me if I'm wrong, people, but
You're wrong.
I am? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You can have both.
Okay. The general rule though is if the staff is teaching, then they shouldn't have then Nathan's going to give me an example of where they can have two. But if the staff is teaching, then we wouldn't expect there to be a non-classroom based assignment unless I guess it's a 60/18 of a teacher on leave. Then we would expect there to be a course. But if
I agree with where you're going. Generally speaking, your 27s must have a course if they're providing instruction to the students. So your RSP teachers, we have a course code for that assignment, 9231, but that doesn't prevent that same staff member from being a mentor teacher, I think you use that as an example.
Mm,
They can do that as well. So they can have any number of non-classroom based job assignments. But the important thing, if they're providing direct instruction to students in Calpads, that's represented by a course. And so your RSP
right,
teachers, we would expect them to have a course. If they're solely a mentor teacher, that's all they do
right.
all day long, then that would be represented for as a non-classroom based job assignment, and they would not have a course.
Hmm.
I think the key with 27 is students don't have to be assigned to the course record, where if you use a 12 or normal teacher job
Right.
classification, you have to enroll the students.
But either way, we would expect there to be an actual course for that staff. Whether or not they have students attached to it would depend on if it's a 27 or a 12, right? Okay. Hopefully that helped, Claudia. Let us know if it doesn't. Moving on, Asya, question 1. Hi, I need to better understand how to use new courses 9701 and 9703 with Instructional Strategy 700. Can they be used with job code 27 without a roster? Do these courses replace 9231? Yeah, so I believe those are the new courses that were added this year that are special education specific, right?
Yes.
And want to say, so I can tell you for sure that you can use job code 27 instead of a 12 because CalPADS is not restricting the use of 27 for those courses. So if you don't have students rostered to that teacher, then you can set it up with a job code of 27 and CalPADS will allow it. Rebecca says that the flash says to use 12, and that is correct. That's what the flash says. However, I mean, you can still use 27. So I guess LEAs use your discretion on how you're setting up that course in your master schedule. If you can assign the students to the course, then all the better for it. I believe that Sean has said that CalSAS takes the students' disabilities and uses that as a way to determine if the teacher has the right qualifications. And so if you don't give us the students now, then I believe that you would have to give that clarification after somehow in CalSAS. I don't know CalSAS good enough to be able to tell you at what point, but that's how I understand it works. And Rebecca says that they've been told by CDE that they cannot use 27.
The code set in front of all of us, the last sentence says this course must be used to indicate pull in or push out services provided to the students.
Mhm.
So that corresponds with 27.
Yeah.
Then Kyron put a link from the user manual in chat as well.
Thank you.
That has the clarification of 12 or 27.
Perfect. Okay. So I don't know if I can answer the second question, though, if the courses replace 9231. I guess I can tell you that 9231 is still active and you can still use that course. I think it just the new courses, I believe, better align or are a bit more descriptive in what the teacher is doing and providing instead of just generic 9231. And I believe that's the reason why those new courses were created. Okay. Moving on to Corey. Question 1. One of our LEAs had a sub-teacher for 6 courses from September 18th to October 17th. However, the LEA only has a sub-permit and doesn't think the teacher has a SEED. They're looking it up, but assuming they do not have a SEED, how do we report this teacher and the assigned courses in CalPADS? We currently have 164 SCSE 139F2 errors. Is this where they can get a credentialing
I
clearance?
think it's called the certificate of clearance.
Yes.
And that should come with a SEED. So if they are a valid substitute teacher, they've gone through the right processes with the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, they should have obtained at least the certificate of clearance, which should come with a SEED. So that should be something that you can track down, even for substitute teachers.
And for the sake of reporting the courses and getting rid of the SCSE 0 or SCSE 0139 error, you can use the generic SEED to submit the course record. I would definitely encourage you to try to help them get a certificate of clearance, but we do want representation of that instruction. So if the substitutes don't have a SEED and you have to still report the student's, instruction, use the generic SEED. It will be a misassignment though.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, Melissa's question 1. We have a student who is hospitalized and will be there for an extended period. Where can I find guidance on how long to keep the student enrolled in our SIS and Calpads? There was an old flash where the no-show, or not the no-show, but the parental leave was also introduced. It's already archived. I think maybe Karen put it in the user manual, but it talked about enrollments for students in home and hospital, like hospitalized. God, I'm just throwing a number, 142/1 something. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
I don't, but I was thinking,
No.
doesn't it matter if they're enrolled in home hospital courses or if they just are not taking any classes, but they're just in the hospital and then you just exit them their last day of enrollment with the transferred for medical reasons?
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Alyssa says we cannot do home and hospital. The
It'd be
hospital is far away.
148.
Thank you, Nate. 140, and I think it was, oh, okay, Karen, see, I knew it. Karen did put it in the end of year roadmap. So I know that flash talks about students that are hospitalized, and we want you to keep them enrolled. But I don't know if those scenarios that are in that flash apply to your situation, Alyssa. And Angela's right. We do have a code specific to students that exit due to medical reasons. So perhaps what you can do is read through this old flash. It's an oldie but goodie, and there are specific scenarios in there. If none of those apply, then I believe then you can use the exit code specific to medical reasons.
E410.
Thank you.
And thank you for getting that resource in chat, Nate. I've been fishing around for the right visual to show for this.
Yeah. Okay. Next, Claudia's question 2. So we'll circle back, Claudia. Next is Rigoberto, question 1. It says, good afternoon, Calpads team. With the new degree of support implementations, we were wondering if we should start enrolling students into our IEP sections coded as inclusion so that they are reported in the SCSE, since for previous fall 2 submissions, we have only submitted IEP sections in the CRSE to be able to report our IEP teachers as STEM and SAS. I don't know if I follow that. Okay. Enrolling students into our IEP sections. Oh, I see. Okay. So if I'm understanding, Rigoberto, what you're saying is that in the past, you weren't enrolling students into your sections. You just had the section, and I'm assuming you would report the teachers as 27. But now you're wondering, should we be reporting those students or enrolling those students so that they come in and you can report their student enrollment? I think ideally, yes. I think that's what I've
Brandy
heard
used to
Sean
say that,
say.
and Brandy too, about including special ed students.
Okay. So if you can, if you're able to get those students enrolled into those sections, then I think all the better for it. But right now we're not requiring it, right? That's not something that we're asking people to go back and do. So if you can swing it, then yes. Next is Anna, question 1. To verify, if an LEA or school is closed at the end of last academic year, the advice is to LEA approve and SELPA approve? And then Kyron answered, says, just be on LEA approved status and it automatically is classified as certified. And this is just for fall 1 of the subsequent academic year for the school closes. Correct.
And Kyron's response is specific to IRCs, but if it's just a school that closed within your LEA, that it does have to be SELPA approved still.
Mm.
And the reason for that is that we still need completer and dropout information for those closed schools.
Next is Emilio, question 1. We have a student who is expected to enroll with us, but we noticed is a mid. The school that created the duplicate SSID has been closed or has since closed. Are we able to merge the SSID before claiming the student via the SCNR? And if so, where does the steps guidance live? Thanks. And then Suan says you need an SCNR in order to have a claim to the student. Correct. Yeah, I don't believe Calpads will let you merge the SSID unless you have ownership of that. But
do we have to do a data request and if the school's closed to have a DBA take care of that?
I don't think so.
No?
I think, yeah, they should be able to do it once they have an active enrollment record for them.
And Matt has on the screen our user manual, which gives you information on our mid process. So if you wanted, depending on what information you're looking for, Emilio, you can probably find it here. If you have specific questions, once you're trying to do the process, you can always submit a ticket and we can help you out. But yes, SCNR first. Question 2 from Melissa, so we'll circle back. Next is Sharmila, question 1. How to get login access credentials to submit Sunbucks data for LEA. Rebecca shared a link. Sharmila says, I used the same link and had the Calpads admin login, but she was not able to log in. And on the screen, Matt has a flash that has information on EDCS, which is the site where we're collecting Sunbucks information. And on there, it talks about how to give access to people who are not the LEA administrators. So maybe I don't know if that's the same link. You can send an email. So, okay. I guess, okay, perfect. She says that she will email them. Thank you. And FYI, people, that's not a flash. That's just the EDCS.
It's the link that
That's
Rebecca
okay.
provided in chat.
I see. Gotcha.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah. Okay. Next is Jan from Aries. It says note. Need to update your documentation to include Space Force. Oh, for the Armed Forces family. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
We're not joining the Space Force, I guess. That's not us.
That was probably a follow-up from the Armed Forces question at the top. I
Okay.
bet the definition of Armed Forces family member does not yet include Space Forces.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just Googled it. It says the Space Force is a co-equal branch of the United States military. So Jan is probably 100% correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Always helpful over at Aries.
Yeah. And Karen will go boldly go and update it. Okay. Suan's question 2. We'll circle back. Leah, question 1. Incrementing staff service years question. I think I understand that it's what year they are in, not how many years they've been with the district. Is that correct? So anytime during year 1, their service years, it's 1. And then when we roll over into the next school year, they are in year 2. So the service years equals 2. Not in year 1, we report 1 because that's the minimum. And then the next year, it's still 1 because they've been in the district a year, right? Correct.
It should
Go for
always
it,
be 1 or greater. The
Mm-hmm.
first year that you report them with a 1, and then every subsequent year you would add a year to that total. If that's for staff services year total, staff services years LEA is their amount of time working at a particular LEA. So if that's their first year with you, staff services years total might be a high number, and you would again just put a 1 in staff services year LEA if it's their first year.
My understanding is that most SIS vendors have a script you can run that updates that for you too.
We got Jan on the call, Aries support.
Put her to work. Okay. Let's move on. Sharmila's question 2. We'll circle back. Megan, question 1. What happens if degree of support is still missing for students after the Fall 1 amendment window closes? Will there be another validation error that will flag, or will this be reflected in the ADLs? Thank you.
I can say for sure it won't be in the ADLs. And unfortunately, we're kind of just collecting the data. So I'm not sure exactly what might be a consequence if that information is still missing. And with Brandy on the other side of the world, if she had any info, we might have to wait for her to come back. But yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have anything to assist with this.
What I can say from the validation standpoint is that we only have the one fatal validation for Fall 1. And again, it's only validating for the plans that are missing the degree of support, the plans that have a start date, an effective start date of 7/1/2025.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And onward. So if the most recent plan overlapping census day is one from last year, 2024, and it's missing, that's when Calpads won't recognize that it's missing, right? And so it's not going to trigger an error for you. But that's where Dominic is saying use the report, because the report is going to be you'll be able to identify those students from there. Was that 1614?
Yeah.
Okay.
1614.
And as far as the implications, I believe that the degree of support is going to impact your Fall 2 reporting. But there aren't any validations for missing degree of support in Fall 2. Okay, Anna's question 2. Okay, so we only have question 2s left. We'll start with Melissa's question 2 at 312. It reads, I have 2 teachers assigned to 27 job assignments. One is receiving an error, missing non-classroom based job assignment code, while the other teacher is not. Why would one teacher trigger this error when the other doesn't? Then Kareem answers, says, if they're 27 but have a course section record, that error won't pop up. Or one of the teachers can have a non-classroom assignment code while the other does not. Exactly. So yeah, Calpads is looking for one or the other, right? It's if they have a job class 27, you have to give us a course, or if they're not teaching, then you have to give us that non-classroom assignment code. So double check the teacher that's giving you the error and make sure that one or the other is populated. And if it is populated and you don't see anything wrong, send us a ticket with the seed and we can take a look. Next is Sue-Ann's question 2 at 3:15. Says, has anyone else noticed an issue with report 1.3 missing TK students when you filter grades all?
EM 7327.
Thank you,
Alex
Brandy.
sent that one up.
Yeah, I think I just sent it up today.
Earlier
Yes.
today, I think, or maybe
It's on the active issues.
Okay.
right there, number 1.
Sue-Ann's boss put in a ticket for that one.
Mm-hmm. So just to give everyone a breakdown of what this is when you go to your 1.3 and you run the report by default, not changing anything, the report includes TK students by default and they show up fine. But if you were to change the grade filter and include all, for some weird reason, the TK students just drop off and they just disappear. So that's why we set it to medium, just because the report is working as assigned when the filters are in default mode. So we're hoping that we get that fixed soon, though. And Sue-Ann didn't know. It's just her and her boss are like on the same wavelength there. That's great. Okay. Sharmila's Q2 is at 3:19. Says a teacher resigned on November 28th. We have a sub until November 19th. There may be another sub in January. We may not have a long-term sub. The principal has been supporting as needed. How do we report this for fall 2? You don't have to. Well, for fall 2, you're only reporting the teachers that were teaching on census day, which is what Kareem is saying. So as of October 1st, who was teaching? And in this case, it was the original teacher, right? So that's the teacher that you're going to report in your courses. And Kyron responded with the same and then gives a resource of what teacher of record. What is the teacher of record? Okay. Great. Question 2 from Anna. Please verify students on an ISP do not need the 8 transition indicators, right? Dominic?
Yeah, that's correct. It's only for students on IE, and same with Anna's follow-up comment for degree of support.
Okay. Question 2 from Asya at 3:36. A young person who resides in our district is attending a private school outside of our LEA. We are the district of residence. Another district is the district of location. The young person needs to have initial testing done. Per November 2025 private school webinar, district of residence is not to submit enrollment to Calpads. This is because enrollment is to be reported by the district of location. What is the best way for the district of residence to obtain an SSID for the initial testing?
The district of residence shouldn't be doing initial testing unless the parent has also requested it specifically from the district of residence. The federal government, in fact, would prefer that the DOR does not assess in this scenario. So it should all be reported by the DOL and handled as far as the assessments are concerned by the DOL.
Okay, thank you. I missed a question.
Slyman answered it, so it hopped over to the answered queue.
Okay, let me find it. 309. Claudia's question 2. For special education students enrolled in an independent study due to medical reasons, the course section instructional strategy should be 700 or 300. Sue-Ann says, I was told that 700 trumps 300. Yeah. And then, okay, and Slyman, I think, just copied the FAQ that we have on this. So we do have an FAQ that talks about when you have multiple instructional strategies for a course, what is the hierarchy? And I think that's what Sue-Ann was answering. So 700 does trump the 300 of home and hospital. I think that was it. Let me go back. Oh, we have one more question.
Angela also posted a resource.
It's the same one, Simon. It's just the link if anybody wanted it.
Okay. Thanks, Angela. And Slime.
Okay. Yeah. Next is Argelia at 342. Says, I am seeking input on best practices regarding the enrollment and tracking of referred preschool students. Our district is currently facing challenges with unresponsive families, which prevents us from completing standard enrollment. To ensure the special education department can fulfill tracking requirements, there is a proposal to manually bypass the SIS and request SSIDs directly from Calpads. I'd like to know if other LEAs have established a workaround for students who do not have a complete data profile, or if you maintain a separate manual tracking system for these instances for special education students.
I will say, based on Brandy's creating and maintaining SSIDs for students with disabilities webinar, the only data elements you would need are student first, last name, gender code, and birth date. So that should be, even if a family is hesitant to provide information, that should still be something they have provided, I would imagine. So it may be just that you're expecting to have to collect and enter more data to create that SSID, but the data requirements that are personal and specific to the student are very minimal.
I think the issue, Dominic, is we have validations during the submission window about missing parent ed level, missing race and ethnicity. And I don't think we exclude special education, right?
Well, right, but this would be, and this is again just unfortunately based on the information that I have in that webinar, but she follows up stating that LEAs, do you have to complete the demographic profile in order for students to appear on snapshots, but not being able to obtain the full profile should not impede creating an SSID.
Gotcha.
So the files can be posted.
Okay, I didn't catch that distinction.
So you need that minimal demographic information to obtain the SSID, but you'll need more in order to resolve errors and certify fall 1.
Yeah, and so it shouldn't, not being able to get this data should not impede the assessment process. That would not be a valid reason.
There's an FAQ on that. Oh,
and I apologize. I posted a link to the webinar in the chat because this question appeared in the chat first.
There is an FAQ on the minimal data elements needed. So people needed to look that.
Was that in the Calpads FAQ?
Mm-hmm. Minimum?
Oh, no.
Maybe, let me see if I can.
Alex, I see it in the FAQ. Yeah.
Thank you.
Where is it?
Copy the link here.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
If you expand the answers and then search for minimum, then it comes up.
I always forget to do that. Thanks for the tip. All right, so here it is on screen.
Yeah.
What's the trick to expand all the answers?
At the very top, there's a
Expand
thing to expand all
and collapse.
Today I learned.
You're not the only one.
I was today years old.
Well, now I don't feel as bad for always forgetting.
I do feel bad for you, Matt, because you had a strong performance today on the Q&A and then kind of end on that note.
Oh, that does bring us to the end.
Yeah.
We are done with questions. Hope everyone's ready to relax and enjoy the holidays and ready to eat all sorts of great foods. If you want to share your favorite meal for the holidays, I'm happy to hear it. But
My
you guys,
uncle tries, and it has so far yet to succeed in recreating my grandma's Christmas cookies. So every year it's a treat and a disaster to try his new creations.
so you getting closer?
No.
Well, a fun tradition nonetheless, Tom.
In our managers chat here at CSIS, we're talking about our family cookbooks, and someone's got a tuna casserole bake. We're all kind of wigging out on, and I was saying my grandmother's recipes, almost every other one starts with, you take a pound of butter and different times.
I'm excited for tamales and
Oh, jealous.
yeah.
Did you have one at our holiday party? I got too full and I didn't get to eat one.
I made sure to eat it even though I was full too.
Marshall's
wife makes the best tamales.
Oh, those were his wives? I would have forced myself to eat one too if I had known they were hers. I wish I asked. I really enjoyed it. Adriana's dish. She had that little spicy shrimp number. That was quite tasty. We'll have to have her add it to the SharePoint recipes list.
I will. I'll add it.
Perfect. Thank you.
People are really liking butter in the chat.
I mean, who doesn't love butter?
I like to
too.
focus on flavor. You know,
I'm serious. It's very good, very good. So the last week's session is up in the YouTube channel now, so it will populate the actual table of contents of questions a little bit shorter, but it is there now. It should be showing.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I mean, if we don't have any other questions, I bet people are happy to have 10 minutes back. Just want to say thank you for all your hard work, and we appreciate everyone out there. Thank you for coming to the Q&A, even though I don't know how many people are already on vacation, but we'll see you next year.
For Christmas, we give you the gift of time.
Yeah.